Marriage Can Win show, and we are your relationship experts. I'm Eric, and this is my wife, Dr. Sakeisha Hiling, and we are so glad that you're joining us this day on Saturday. Oh, we have a special edition with our special guest. So we like for everyone out there to do one of two things. Share this broadcast out, start a watch party. Also, go to Instagram and follow us on Instagram under Marriage Can Win. So let's get started. Dr. Sakeisha Hiling, she's going to do our introduction of our special edition speaker today.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, honey. I am super, super excited. We have a passion for marriages and relationships. And joining us today on this special edition, we have Dr. Casandra, aka Coach Cass, joining us today.
Hey y'all, so excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Coach Cass. You don't know how much it means to us for you to take time out of your schedule and spend some time and just pour into the listeners.
Especially on a Saturday.
Yeah. And you have such a wealth of experience that you are bringing to the table that I'm sure that everybody has their pen and their paper ready. As you come onto the broadcast, make sure you put in the city and state you're listening from, and don't forget to share it out. Don't be stingy. Everyone else needs this information as well. So share.
I'm sharing too right now. I'm sharing with one hand.
Well, today we have with us Coach Cass. She's an intuitive love coach and matchmaker for successful women with InspireMany.com. Coach Cass sets stages of flame as an in-demand speaker and a TEDx presenter. She's the creator of the Love Deck dating conversation cards. Her voice has graced the airwaves weekly on the #1 radio show in South Florida and has hosted the television show Physically Fit. Coach Cass chronicled and featured by Women's Day, Fast Company, and Black Enterprise, just to name a few. She's the author of Princess Zara's Birthday Tradition, and you can often find her relaxing on the beaches of the world with her husband Andy and her daughter Ava, jamming to reggae vibes. Join her in her premier private community for single professional women at reallovenetwork.com. And don't worry, if you missed any of that information, we're going to make sure we get it in your hands, because there's a wealth of information about to flow across the screen. So have your pen and your paper ready. Coach Cass, how are you doing today?
Woo! I am so excited, Dr. Sakeisha and Eric, to be here on a Saturday talking to y'all. I appreciate you. You know, I should edit my bio to say, instead of on the beaches of the world, we're dancing in my living room.
I know, right?
Gotta do, right here. We're safe at home. At home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely.
All right. So tell our listeners a little bit about you. I mean, you're a phenomenal woman, but I want you to just take a second, just tell our listeners a little bit about you, about, your background, your business. Because, for us, we're like, oh, it's Coach Cass, and they're like, ooh, well, tell me some more about it. You were talking about
who are you and why should I care, right? Okay. All right. So here we go. What's up, y'all? Hello to the wonderful Marriage Can Win family. So happy to be here on this platform. So I'll share with you a little bit about my story, right? So just in case you've never heard of me, we're going to get a little close. I'm going to share some stuff, so pay attention. Once upon a time, I was dating a guy that I thought was the one. Anybody here ever thought somebody was the one before? Put the #1 in the chat, whether you're watching live or the replay or listening in, right? So for me, I traveled the world with this guy. I built business with him. We talked about a future together. I just knew that he was the one for me. Until one Christmas Eve, I got a phone call, y'all. Mm-hmm. And when I answered the phone, my friend was like, "Hey, are you sitting?" I said, well, why? That's never a good thing, y'all. And he said, "Well, you know that guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, what about him?" "He's married."
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He's married. So my heart shattered into a million pieces on the floor. I don't know about any of y'all, but have you ever gotten a call that you weren't expecting, whether it was regarding your finances, your health, your faith, anything, right? And so for me, I felt like the bottom fell out. And so I was in a really dark place for a really long time. Anybody ever been in a dark place before? Like, seriously, just wasn't expecting that curveball. And I kept dating, but I kept dating the wrong person over and over and over, right? Like toxic relationship after toxic relationship. I was like, something's got to give. The guilt, the shame. I felt like somebody kept calling me to tell me how stupid I was, but nobody was calling me. It was my own negative thoughts. And so my defining moment came, y'all, when I got like my 29th wedding invitation. Y'all ever felt like everybody was getting married? It didn't matter wage, age, size, race, hair color, none of it, right? Everybody was getting married. And I was like, wait a second, I'm cute. Like, what's going on here? So that's when I had to say, I had to do the work. Go ahead and put hashtag do the work, right? So I had to do the work when it came to love, because part of me felt like there had to be some magic fairy dust that I needed to go buy somewhere, and I wasn't finding it, right? Like, where is it? I went to Disney, behind the castle, they sprinkled magic fairy dust on you, but I still didn't find love back there, y'all. Like, there was nobody giving out love. And so just like Rashida had love and Maria had love, Ellen has love, Cass wanted love too. So for me, number one, I had to become a student of love. Just like I was a student in business and invested in my business, invested in my fitness, invested in my travel, well, before this, right? So I had to invest in my love life. So I read almost every book I could find on love, almost 100 books. I was consuming it like fried chicken. I like fried chicken. Anyway, so I was consuming the books all day, every day. Then I went to marriage conferences as a single person. Yeah, you heard that right. So I have a Facebook image from back in the day. Y'all got to search my timeline. It literally, where you put your face in the cutout? It was the face of a bride and a hole for the groom. And everybody's like, Cass, like, where's the groom? I'm like, he's coming, y'all. He's coming. And then I interviewed couples, right, who had been married for over 25 years and actually still liked each other. And y'all know a lot about that, right? So it's like, I knew a lot of grumpy married folk that were not selling marriage at all. I was like, I don't know if I want this, right? So I had to search the nation for couples that actually still liked each other over 25 years to say, okay, well, maybe there's something to this. And then I interviewed successful women that were successful in business and in love, because a part of me felt like you couldn't do the both of them at the same time. How many times do we have that girlfriend that's like, nah, man, I'm going to secure the bag. I'm going to, focus on my career. I'm going to get my degrees and love will come later. And yet love still hasn't come, So for me, I had to do a huge mindset shift. And really, that is a part of what brought me along the journey to attract my amazing husband, Andy. And now we have a beautiful baby girl named Ava. And, when I looked up, and I looked around, I said, wow, I didn't even know a life like this was capable. Like, I was capable of having such an amazing marriage and, give thanks to God. But it's just like, there's so many people that we know that are settling, right? Eric and Sakeisha, like, we know so many people that are settling in a situationship or relations thing. And so that's when I realized that my calling was to work with women specifically around attracting the right kind of love into their lives, starting with themselves. Self-love to real love is the journey that I take women on. And that really started from my own journey. So that's a little bit about where I came from, where I'm at. Yeah.
Wow. I like that. So for those of you that are listening, I want you to post in the comments, self-love to real love.
Yes.
Hashtag Coach Cash. I love that. Self-love to real love. And that is powerful, because that's one of the things I wanted to tap into with you today, that when you're encountering these successful women, and I found some women that are willing to compromise just to say they have someone. And one thing you said personally, like, I have to have the right one. You need to find the one. So how many people are actually willing to be patient until they find the one?
Girl, look, we all know somebody that's settling in a thing for a warm body, especially during this quarantine. I have to talk to some of my clients like, y'all, You only met him one time online. This is not, the second date does not need to be in your living room on a bear skin rug. Okay.
Ooh, yes.
Okay. Some people
Talk about
it nasty a little bit too early in the sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely do talk to women about taking it slow, because this is what I find, right? We have all these morals and values and this long list. Like, you know, I got to wait until I find, you know, my 6'2", you know, chocolate, thin, whatever, 7-figure guy. And then you connect with one brother and he's kind of cute and he has all his teeth and he smiles at your jokes. You're like, you know, the list, whatever. And then you end up in a situation with someone way too early. And a part of that, Sakeisha and Eric, is because, you know, a lot of professional women are busy, right? So they're not used to dating as a verb, right? They're like, okay, well, you're cool. I'll get to know you. 6 months down the line, you're like, well, why did I do that? Right? Because you committed to one person that wasn't committed to you. So that's a different pandemic that's happening across the world. It's the pandemic of settling too soon. Settle-itis, you know, is what I like to call it. You know, they got the settle-itis going on, and it's like, and it's not that time. I need you to date. Dating is a verb.
Yes, I love it. Love it. Love it. Settle-itis. I like that.
Yeah, but you know that's really where we always have our clients. Is because they rushed into something and they tried to make it work, and they didn't take the time to really get to know one another. And you know, that's our biggest thing. We have, you know, our first book was about the 3 biggest issues that causes marriages to fail. One being communication, and that's really the key out of it. And 2 being finance, and 3 being intimacy. So that's the first piece, communication. So if people can, at the beginning, when they meet, you know, someone, take their time and communicate and express what they expect. And that's part of the communication. So now they can be on one accord. Because I mean, we've, even up into the 60s, we've had couples that were married 3 times, right? And on the 3rd time, they were getting married in their 60s, well off, retired. And they were like, okay, where are you going to move to California? And the other one's like, for what? I got a house here in Florida. Why would I move to California? You're like, wait a minute. I thought you were going to move to California. We got married. You know,
they got married and had not had this conversation.
That's the problem.
3 marriages now, 3rd marriage, in their 60s, retired. You would think they would have learned something.
I need everybody to read your book. What's the name of your book, guys?
Oh, Marriage Can Win.
Yes, I need everybody to buy the book that is watching right now. And you see, I'm trying to put y'all out of business. You know why? Because I'm trying to save the women from the beginning. You know, save the women from the beginning, because they end up on your couch, right? They end up in your new room. Like, why? Why did I do this? And we all have that couple that we know that knew from the beginning they shouldn't have married who they married, and they did anyway. So if y'all know a couple like that, make sure you connect them or slide in the DM of Eric and Dr. Sakeisha so that they can help them out in this quarantine situation. Okay.
Now,
see, this is where this is going to be a good conference when we have singles and married couples, and we have the expert, Coach Cass.
All right, we have to bring you on.
Hey, ready.
I have a question. So when you're dealing with a lot of these single professional women, what's the rationale that they've given to you that they were willing to ignore a lot of these red flags that you have from the beginning? You know, sometimes what's your perspective?
So I specifically am thinking of one client that kept dealing with her ex, right? So she was like, you know, there's something amazing about him. We connect, we laugh, we have a good time, but he's inconsistent, right? And this last time around, they decided to quarantine together. And he wanted to go back to his hometown. And she's like, okay, go ahead. And he said, no, I'm going to stay. And then maybe 2 days later, he said, I should have listened to myself, and left. And where that left her was heartbroken, right? And maybe he dropped off like a letter, a 9-page letter, not even a 4-page letter, y'all, a 9-page letter at her front doorstep. Like 2 weeks later, she didn't even know that he was gone out of the state, right? That's just rude. And just expressing himself in poetry. I'm like, you need to let that man go. Like, let it go. I don't care how familiar, because I tell you what messes people up. Good sex, right?
Yeah.
Good sex, right? So when you out here just having sex and willy-nilly and it's all good, it's hard for you to say goodbye, especially in times like this. So these are the issues of connection that we have real problem with. So that's why I came out with this, right, y'all? So this is the love deck, and literally it's to cause more meaningful conversation. And let me just see. Let's see. Oh, look at this. What is your relationship with your parents? You know what happens when people are dating. You already know what happens when people are dating, right? So you're sexy, I'm sexy, we like each other, what we eating for dinner, right? And then you get married, and then that's pretty much all that happens. Only thing is you're not as sexy anymore. And you leave your socks on the floor. And why is your underwear next to the hamper and not in the hamper? You know, and we don't talk about the meaningful things, whether you're single or married, right? We're talking about who's gonna do the dishes and who's gonna order the food. And it's sad. It's just really sad.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
That's like really, really important. Now, I have a question for you. It's like, as a entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, as a love coach, you wear so many hats. You're married. You have a beautiful daughter. How do you balance it all? Because I'm sure some of our listeners out there might be wondering. Because a lot of times we're like, "Well, I have this, I have that."
You have a
Coach
lot of
Cass,
professionals.
tell them how
Man, so I'm gonna give you the in quarantine and out of quarantine.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So we safe at home right now. So we're still trying to get this together. However many months in we are. And so lately, what I've been doing. So for all my people that are trying to figure out how to balance out marriage and family and you in this process, is I create a nightly schedule for my family, and I write it out, because we have all the calendars on the phone, but for some reason my husband only looks at his stuff on his calendar and not my stuff on his calendar. Y'all, anybody here automatically adds stuff to people's calendars? So yeah, I am that person. So instead now I sit down with him and I do a paper sheet to say, okay, breakfast with daddy, right? And so that means mama can take her team call, right? And then lunch with daddy, so mama can do her other call. And then during, the in-between, daddy has his calls. And, so we're still working out the scheduling, but I've found to create sanity, it's like, okay, you're the parent that's going to pay attention to our child during this time, because in the first couple weeks, we were doing the conference call shuffle. That's what I like to call it. #conference call shuffle. So I'd be on a conference call, he'd be on a conference call. I'd be on a Zoom, he'd be on a Zoom. And then my child is somewhere in my house and we just praying that he's all together, right? Like UPF don't come for me, right? Child Protective Services. So now we've gotten it together, and at least one parent is paying attention to our child, because now we're also taking an early parenting class. I just did an active parenting facilitation workshop. Listen to me. I am a learner, and I know that I don't know everything. So I've been taking every class I need to equip myself to be better in this situation. So for me, I also realized that she can't be watching TV and tablets all day long, no matter if they're educational. So that means we actually have to spend time with her. So now we're coming up with small projects, even though you think they last for an hour and they last for about 5 minutes. But hallelujah. It's just thinking to yourself, okay, like with the schedule, understand things can move. And other than that, what do you need for your sanity? So guess what? Mama doesn't join in breakfast time. That's not family time. Okay, that's my time. Y'all eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast.
I like that.
Okay, y'all eat breakfast, but we do lunch together and we do dinner together. So we're doing at least 2 meals, right? And then we try to do a family bike ride. In this process. Like the children's book I wrote is around traditions, and I found research shows that families that have traditions and maintain them are more resilient in times like this. And that's really what the book is about, is forming family traditions and what family traditions do you celebrate, right? So now, we are starting to bike ride and love it. Now, mind you, growing up in New York, I'd always be on my bike, right? Like that was my mode of transportation. Down here, it's like weird. Your parents aren't letting you leave anywhere to go on anybody's bike. No. That's not happening. So now, like, being able to bike ride as a family, that's been fun. And we Zumba every other day. Listen, that is my sanity, y'all. Okay. Yeah. Y'all don't mess with my Zumba. Okay. So we've been shaking it up. And it turns out my daughter loves some soca and calypso. So she'll lead us in a class herself. And it's been beautiful to just take a moment each day to also write down what I'm grateful for. Yeah. And reflect on that. You know, taking the time, because what we will do is like, oh man, I messed up today. That child watched 3 hours of TV, you know, and that's what we focus on. Or I got in trouble, you know, because I didn't clean up the kitchen and my husband's mad at me, or vice versa. You know, you did it last time. No, I did it the last time. I gave her a shower, you know, and then we end up in this whole pickle. And it's like, no, what are you grateful for right now? You know what? We had some laughs that we never had. We sat down and read a book together. We did this, you know, we had more meaningful conversations from the Love Deck, you know, so it's been a daily process in this quarantine, but it's made us more focused on how we relate to each other. And just one last tip on this whole thing, blame it on Cheryl, right? So blame it on Cheryl, right? So that third coworker, right? So that means been going around, like blame it on Cheryl. Whatever it is, like the socks, the dishes, the bed not made, whatever it is. Listen, you know, Cheryl, she just disrespectful. She just left this stuff. You know, could you help me? You know, Cheryl's doing a lot this today. You know, can you help me clean up? Because, you know, Cheryl. So it feels better than saying, can you pick up what you done left over there? You know, so we want to make sure that we're not playing the blame game all day, because that game gets old. And we already have heard of people tired of their husbands and wives in this situation. You see the memes going around talking about the therapist, like, oh, snap. After quarantine, you know, oh, the divorce rate, you know, let's not fall into that. You know, you chose these people on purpose, so act like it.
Can I make you laugh, Coach Cass?
Yeah, because she already practicing that blaming Cheryl. I was like, who is Cheryl? She was talking to my daughter earlier this morning. She was doing something like she was trying to bake some muffins or something. And she was like, oh, tell Cheryl to stop doing that. Like, who is Cheryl? I know all the women in my house. I know all the women in my house. I got 2 women in my house, my daughter and my wife. Who the heck is Cheryl? We ain't no man. What's up with that? She's like, no, baby, you got to listen to Coach Cass. I was like, wait a minute.
He freaked out. He's like, who the heck is Cheryl?
You have some girl in here I don't know about.
Oh man, that made my side hurt. Oh yay! So you should get used to Cheryl, see? And it gives you a laugh, right? When you get upset. You gotta laugh through this stuff, y'all.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of households need a laugh.
And that's a good thing. You know what? I think it's important during this time that we're more intentional about just having fun. Like you talked about the bike rides. That's something we started doing that we hadn't really done since before we had the kids.
That's true, yeah.
You know?
Right.
But I was sharing with someone, like, when we go out in the evenings, you see families together, something we had not seen in a long time. And I said, babe, you know, we've been here like a year and a half, and I've never seen any of those people before in my life. I didn't know they lived here. I didn't know there were here. But it's an opportune moment to create memories, you know?
I had somebody say, I didn't know other Black people lived in my neighborhood. Oh my goodness.
It was so
real. One person I spoke to about the same thing. They said a family they knew had a whole teenager. They've been living in their house for about 15 years, and this was the first time they saw that family's child. And they're like, they have a whole teenager at home, like they had a baby and everything, and we missed the whole thing, my neighbors, right? So yeah, you see a lot more.
All right. Now, I have a question. You talked a little bit about the love deck. Can you share some more information? Because I'm sure there are conversations that need to be taking place in these households. And I'm sure, like I just saw the first question that you held up on the screen. So can you share a little bit more with the listeners about the love deck?
Yeah. So I try to think of the things that we really don't talk about, but we need to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And this just makes it fun. So instead of making it an inquisition, make it into a game. Like, oh, let's pick a question of the day. Let's just have a conversation. I've used this on road trips with my parents. I've used this with my husband. And I encourage, my clients to use it, right? And getting to know the person before choosing them as the one, right? So no matter where your stage is, meaningful conversations is helpful. So this is, what's your favorite time of day and why?
Wow.
So what does that lead you to? So my husband looks at me and he's like, you know what, Cass, I started waking up early, and that's making me feel better. And I'm doing well because I wake up early and I work out. And I look at him like it's crazy because now I'm staying up to like 2 a.m. to get my time in. So, and that's my happy time from midnight to 2 a.m. has been wonderful. And then another happy time for me is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's like when my brain works. So when you start coming at me at 7:30 with all these questions or whatever else is going on, I'm looking at you like you're crazy. So being able to understand who you're dealing with and knowing that it's not against you, my body's just not wired to function in that capacity at that time of day, you start to love the person for who they are versus trying to change them into what you want them to be.
Wow. That's important.
Yes,
Very important. Stepping on some toast. No.
My bad.
Marriage can still win, yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But for those that are okay, perfect. What were you taught about money growing up? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
That's like
big. That's our second.
That's a big thing because couples have to be on the same page in regards to finances. And like you said, you deal with a lot of successful business women. Have you found that that's a huge concern when they're thinking about a potential partner, the financial aspect of it?
Yes, girl. They want to say, well, I need a prenup, Coach Cass. They might have maybe one house. Well, I need a prenup. Ma'am, you are not a multimillionaire right now. But they're like, I got to save all my coins because my last husband, it was just too much for me. I'm like, this is crazy. So first of all, okay, there was one woman that was a client of mine, and she was concerned that the man she was dating was too generous, right? So she's like, wait a second, this guy, he gives to everybody and gives to everything and da-da-da. So she was concerned of his spending habits because she was like, well, I don't need him just giving away my money, Now, I realize that folks that are generous, are generously blessed. And, that is my belief, and I tried to talk to her about that, but, not necessarily did that work out. But I really see that, my ladies, especially of a certain age, over 40, start to worry about their finances and their retirement and choosing the right person. And are they established and are they together and are they there to mooch? Like they don't want a moocher. So yeah, it does end up being a huge concern for women, who have established themselves in this world. They don't want to just give it up. Now, my question to them is always, well, do you want to be in a relationship? Right? Because there has to be some type of compromise. And if, like you say, I'm going to be in California and you're going to be in New York, like where is the middle ground? Like we all know of one relationship that's doing that, but outside of that relationship, I don't see it working that well, so being able to say, okay, well, how do we come together if this is the person I'm choosing? And I understand that it's in baby steps, right? So you don't necessarily sell everything you have right away, right? But baby steps. But the big part is doing the work on the front end. Right now, I have 3 of my clients that are getting married. Unfortunately, their weddings are going to look a little bit different in the next coming months. But, I've been forcing them, very nicely coercing them to take a premarital class, and like a 8-week premarital class, not like a one-time sit-down situation. I'm talking about, every week there's a different topic, there's a different subject, and you talk through these things because you get so focused about the wedding, which right now most of them are called off, right? So, hey, you can't focus on that wedding right now. So let's focus on the marriage, right? So let's talk about how you gonna make this thing work. Because I'll be happy if your engagement is called off before you get married to the wrong person that you don't even know, right? So let's do the work now versus just saying, oh, come on, let's just get to the courthouse and sign the paper, right? Because you're gonna be with this person in quarantine, in life. You just don't know what's gonna happen, and you need to make sure that this is the person that God has for you.
That's true. So much is put on marriage itself because and we live right behind Disney, and guess what the number one theme is? Princess. Prince and magical. And so many women place a lot of emphasis on that magical day, and then after that,
well, I mean, I think I think a lot of times they invest more time in getting prepared for that one day and not with marriage for a lifetime. Because once, you take off that gown and remove the makeup and stuff, then life starts to settle in. Yes. Exactly.
Right. All the makeup comes off, and now you see the socks on the floor, and like we were talking about,
missing the hamper.
Then you gotta call Cheryl.
Right.
And Cheryl gonna be like, look, I'm getting a divorce. Cheryl gonna divorce us before we get started. She like, look.
And that's a huge challenge.
Yes,
we've had people come to us about things like that, and you're like, wait a minute. So these are necessary conversations. So where can our listeners get the Love Deck?
Oh, inspiremany.com. On inspiremany.com, just hit store and you can get the Love Deck. Yes, we are shipping even in the quarantine. You need it now, baby. I got the glare. You need it now. So, I forgot to say that on one side is affirmations. So for those of you that are watching this, like, I don't have anybody to talk to. You always have somebody to talk to. I even use this with my best friend. But on one side is, an affirmation. So I attract abundance, I accept change. Hallelujah. I spend time with the best people, like remember that you like the people in your house. I create special moments. So it's just very simple reminders because 90% of our thoughts are negative and 85% of those thoughts are the same thoughts every single day. So if we sit here, and especially if you're watching the news, and just regurgitate these things over and over in our minds, we need to retrain our minds with what's serving us. So one side is affirmations, the other side is meaningful conversation starters. Y'all.
I think that's awesome. We had a speaker on probably maybe a week or two ago, and she was telling me about how everything that's going on, she's suggesting for her clients to do a media diet. You get a little bit in the morning, a little in the afternoon, a little bit in the evening. It's portion control. Yeah. So I was thinking when you were talking a lot about mindset shift, that would be perfect to have the affirmations from the Love Deck. You start thinking of reading those questions and those affirmations in the morning to start retraining your brain to replace those negative thoughts with positive ones. So that's a hint to everyone that is listening. Go to inspiremany.com, get your copy of the Love Deck. I will be getting my copy today. We're placing our order. Yes, I am super excited. And you also, we talked a little bit about the book that you have on your shelf behind you. Would you like to share with our listeners? Yes, because we were talking about the importance of traditions and what we could be doing during this time. So it's Princess Zara's birthday tradition.
Yes.
So is that also available at inspiremany.com?
Yeah, if you go to inspiremany.com, up at the top it says Zara and Ziggy, and you can see how to get the book. We did hit the #1 Amazon bestseller during quarantine. Okay, which is a pretty darn big deal. And we've been holding at the #1 new release since we began. So I'm really excited. Just to share a little bit of the story behind the story. So I have a 3-year-old little girl now, but when she was turning 3, I wanted to do a birthday party for her at school. And, I wanted a princess that looks like her, right? And I could not find one, y'all. Like everybody's like, oh, but what about Princess Tiana? She didn't have a cup, a plate, a balloon, a nothing. And then when I started to just pay attention in our comings and goings, I went to Macy's and Kohl's and Dillard's to the kids section. They had Peppa Pig, Vampirina, which is a purple vampire. They had Nancy's white, Elsa and Anna, you know, everything white or an animal, but no black anything. And I was like, wait a second, our nation is so diverse and nothing, not even a doc mixed up. And so I was like, this is crazy. And then when I went to the doctor with her, they'd give her a sticker with a princess on it that looks nothing like her and say, here, baby, here's my favorite princess.
Oh.
Wow.
And I started to think about it like, this is a little bit deep. I don't know about this, right? So we ended up doing a mermaid party for her. Like, okay, Black Mermaid. I found that. But then when I started to think about it, like, you know what, my baby needs to see a princess because she likes princesses. She's into princesses, like most little girls are. Right. And she's here trying to attach blonde hair to herself. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see what I can do. So I decided I was just going to do one little small mock-up and maybe put a poster in her room of this little princess, right? Oh, wow. And I went to lunch with a girlfriend who happens to be white, and we were talking about it, and I showed Ava for the first time Princess Zara, and she goes, Mommy, I don't want this one. I want the other one. I want the white one.
Wow.
And my girlfriend started crying. I started tearing up. I was like, I didn't know it was that deep. So when you start to think of that black doll versus the white doll test back in the 80s and how every kid from every culture chose the white doll as smarter, prettier, better. It wasn't that I realized it wasn't that anybody told them that, but the fact that you don't see it in mainstream media and it's not cool and people aren't dressing up as that black princess, you know, like nobody wants it, right? And then when we start to think of, we show studies that show where did racism really come from? When we look at our textbooks in our schools, you know, Black History Month is what, 28 days? Yeah. And that's not even covered in every school. Right. And so otherwise, what do we learn about Black people in our history, right? We were shot when we did something amazing and we were slaves, right? So where's the kings and the queens and the royalty? And everybody said, well, there's already Princess Tiana. I'm like, well, she was a frog for about 80% of the movie. No. And she came from poverty. No, I don't know any other princess that came from poverty. If you're going to make up a story, you might as well make her royal. So I'll let you know that Princess Zara comes from royalty. Her daddy is King Zahir. He teaches the young men in the kingdom how to be young men. And her mother, Queen Adana, teaches the young ladies ballet. And she is on a mission to spread love to solve the world's problems. So the story itself is not about black and white. So this story is about for every child, you know, and where I'm seeking to get y'all, like my big vision is to be a cartoon on PBS specifically, right? That's my big vision, to be on PBS and to be able to have a mainstream character that every child looks up to, because it's not enough that every black girl sees herself, which is still important, right? Because there's no little girl princess for a black girl to look up to, but then also that my little white girls, Asian girls, Spanish girls want to be a Princess Zara. Go ahead and attach your Afro puff just like you would your blonde ponytail, right? So it's like, I need there to be some equity in how we represent our children in mainstream society. So Zara and Ziggy is a big movement, and we're just at the first stages. So for anybody listening, if you got a connection at PBS, go ahead and send us to them. I'm just saying, you know, and I'm seeking mainstream coverage to be able to help this get to the next level. It's a passion of mine, and I'm really excited. Yeah.
I'm making a note, because definitely I'm like, if I come across somebody, I'm like, here, I want you to talk to Coach Cass. And it's so amazing that you said that. It makes me think about our daughter that's 17 now, but we lived in South Florida in Boca Raton for a little while. Mm-hmm. And she came home crying from school one day.
I remember that.
And it broke my heart, because she goes, Mommy, I don't want to go back. I was like, Mom, what? I said, babe, what's going on? They told me they don't want to play with me anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean? They said they can't play with me anymore because I'm brown.
Wow.
And that literally broke my heart. I mean, my husband we had our jobs and businesses and stuff there. I was like, I don't care what we got to do. Get me out of here. You got to take me back to Orlando, because I couldn't. So, my heart was broken, because back then I'm like, I didn't even know where to begin. She was what, 3? It's 2000. Yeah, about 3 or 4 years old, and just for her to come home and say that, my heart just dropped. You know, so I mean, I
that right there.
The purpose.
resonated, like goosebumps, like chills, that right there. And that's why this is starting so early. My child was 2, right? So you're talking about 2 and 3 years old, people already shunning or not seeing yourself as equal is straight up from the cartoons and what they see in school. So even in, big dreams, I want Princess Zara everything, right? So just think about flashcards, how much diversity is in our activity books, in our coloring books. And people can get a free coloring book by joining the mailing list. Coloring sheet, sorry. I didn't come out with a coloring book yet, one step at a time. But it's just being able to really see themselves from early. It's a big feat. Like, just look at Netflix, right? You could see that they are purposely integrating diversity in their programming. I watched that Raising Dion, and you saw that one little main character in a wheelchair, right? That was a big deal, right? She Raising Dion, a little Black kid as a superhero, and then his best friend in a wheelchair. So diversity comes from all sides, and it has to be intentional. Disney definitely has to catch up, Oh
yeah, they do.
So anybody out there, if you have any connections to PBS, definitely, connect them with Coach Cass, because we want to get this out there.
And the thing is, when we, just a little bit more, when we brought kids back here in Orlando, of course, we say, we got to put them in the best schools. And then we put them in the private school, and guess what?
Okay.
More scrutiny.
Don't take me back there. Let's stay positive right
now. That's the
other side of mama.
We have systemic racism, and I'm grateful for all, I have parents that are white, Black, Hispanic, posting pictures of their kids reading Princess Zara and tagging us on social media, because, it's just showing that, look, this is cool for all children. Like, it's a universal conversation. It's just a princess that happens to be Black, it's just like, she's cool, just like every other princess, So, yeah, we got to make Black the new color Black. You're like, forget orange is a new Black. Black is a new Black, and we all love it.
Man, that's the next movement. That's the movement now.
I have a question. As a love coach, as a businesswoman, what do you feel is your greatest strength? Ooh, I love that mug. I like the hearts on the inside.
Little detail. Man, I got so excited when I got this mug. You see the gold handle, girl? Ooh, y'all see that? Ooh. My greatest strength, I would say that in terms of coaching, my greatest strength is hearing what you're not saying.
Oh, okay.
Right? So sometimes we say, well, Coach Cass, I don't need a man. Really?
Oh, gosh.
Really? Because at the end of the day, we all want to feel loved, heard, companionship. It's how we were built. But really what you're saying is, I don't want to look thirsty. I don't want to be desperate. I don't want to look desperate. And it's not about that. It's okay to want love and desire conversation that's meaningful and connection. But we get so caught up in what other people think who don't matter, right? I don't care if it's your mama, right? Like, they don't matter, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about you, especially in this time where people are going through bouts of depression and whatever else is going on, and the pride. Well, I can't do online dating, Coach Cass. Okay. Well, where you gonna meet him? With your mask on at the supermarket 6 feet away?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how's that working for you? At the gas pump? Like, where are you gonna meet this person? Right? So we really just have to have a real conversation that online dating is a thing, and you can find love with online dating, right? Like, I actually have a free giveaway for my single ladies. I'll put let's see, for relationshipsforbusywomen.com is the website. So that's how to ace the next date. And then it'll give you access to get my courting on quarantine, during quarantine, as well as my top 10 date ideas while in quarantine from a single lady. You know what I'm saying? So that's from a single lady. Relationshipsforbusywomen.com. Yeah.
All right.
Get the team to put that up. They can get that.
Let me do that. Let's see. Relationships for busy women.
For busywomen.com.
Ooh,
Yes.
I know they're getting hooked up today.
Let's go. You can't play around, Sakeisha and Eric. Like this is a time that's perfect. And so what I tell my busy women is like, you're not that busy anymore, right? So before, that was one of the main complaints. Oh, Coach Cass, I have so many things going on. Honey, you are home watching Netflix. Like you are not working 24/7. You are on TV. You're thumbing through Instagram, liking some posts. You might be shopping a little bit extra, right? So now there's some extra money in the budget because you're not going out as much. This is the time to do some online dating. You have 10 minutes a day. Like it doesn't have to be all day. And that's the issue. Sometimes they're like, oh, well, it's just so overwhelming. You don't have to be on every site and you don't have to do it all day. It doesn't have to be.
I have a question from the male perspective, from the men.
Okay.
So we hear men, well, I personally don't, because I've been married now going on 22 years and I've been with my wife over 26 years.
Nice. And you still like each other.
Exactly. You can tell we're married. We be in church, and we used to be in church, and people like, oh, I didn't know they were married. Yeah. But then they see us, I'm like, oh, we want to be just like you. Your kids love you. Y'all actually hold hands and you smile. Like, yeah, I love my baby. But
they don't know the phases that we had to go through to get to that. And that's what we like to share, because a lot of times with relationships, and I'm sorry for interrupting,
no, that's fine.
That they're looking so much on the external appearance, but they're not taking the time to get to know one another. And we got put on to like this TV show, like what's that on Netflix? You had me watching.
With Temptation Island?
No, not Temptation Island.
Blind Love?
Yeah, Love Blind. Yeah. Where they actually were getting to know one another. And that way you kind of remove the physical aspect of it, because you had to have those conversations. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is really, to me, it was really cool, because you got a chance to talk to someone and get to know them. And I think it's important during this time, get to know someone, because like you said earlier, sometimes they rush so much into the physical aspect of it, and that kind of messes up their mind when it's time to make some wise decisions, because everything is based on the physical.
But as you know, men and women are different. Men are stimulated by sight, right?
Yes.
Men like talk and emotions come in, But men, we like, hey, we see something and that's automatically attracted to us. But we hear so much. There aren't any good men out there. They're just, they don't make any money. They don't, it reminds me of, what's the movie with Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman? And remember Taraji P. Henson's like, they have to make 6 figures. They got to be a business owner. They got to be CEO. And so tell me your thoughts. I know you hear a lot of that. Tell me, what do you tell your clients when they say that?
Okay, so one of the biggest things I say to them is that stuff doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, when you're sick and you're old and you're saggy, that stuff doesn't matter. So you really have to get to the root of what matters. My pastor told me one day, don't marry somebody for what you can pay for, right? So when you really think about that, right? You could pay for somebody to cook, clean, sex, watch your kids, all the things that we usually determine our life partner on. Oh, let me tell you how good she is in the kitchen. Let me tell you how great he could fix a car. Like those things are not the things to choose a partner on, So you really have to get to the root of what really matters. Does this person sit and listen to your corny jokes and laugh? Does this person accept you for the way that you are? Like, for instance, I had a client who's 50, right? So she was dating this guy. She's like, oh, Coach Cass, he's so cool. So I was like, tell me a little bit more about him. And when we just talked a little bit more, let me tell y'all, I help women steer clear of the wrong one and lead them to the right one. So when we started having real conversation, it turns out that this guy, every time they went on a date, he'd say, you gonna wear that? You sure about that? You gonna wear those boots again? You gonna wear that scarf? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I like the flavor that this man is seasoning with, and after really taking a look at it, he was controlling, and it was just these little seeds that we don't pay attention to because we're excited to spend time with someone and we're going out and we're just kicking it. I'm like, I need you also to clear the air from the people you're just kicking it with. You know, so many women and men have this person kind of on the shelf that they spend time with and really have no intention with. I need you to stop having space fillers, whether there's a quarantine or not. I need you to clear the space.
I like that. Stop having space fillers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you mentioned about determining who is the right fit. Do you have like some kind of wisdom that you normally tell your clients, like, okay, you know, this is what you typically, you know, if you hear this, that's a red flag. If not,
yes.
You know.
Yeah. Now the thing is, I'm gonna tell your listeners and your watchers, but I'm gonna tell you something. They still are not gonna do it, because what I find is that I can tell you till you're blue in the face, but then when we're really coaching one-on-one, especially for like my VIP clients or my ladies that are in my Real Love Network membership community, is that they'll say, "Oh, Coach Cass, this guy." I'm like, wait a second, can we go back to the basics, please? Like, let's review here. And for instance, I had a VIP client, right? So this is my one-on-one coaching clients. She had two guys she was dating. One, the guy she was trying to, you know, this is the man for me, was like Pepe Le Pew. You are so beautiful to me. Your eyes are like the ocean. You know, like all that stuff. You know, she's like, "Oh, Coach Cass, this guy's awesome. You know, bearskin rugs, sexy pop bottles." I'm like, okay, I don't know about that. Let's keep dating the other guy too, right? Let's keep paying attention to the other guy too. And now she's married to the other guy, y'all, right? And I can't tell you how many times that has happened with my clients that I help them choose the other guy, right? So they'll be hell bent on this one person. I'm like, let's just keep dating to see what else is in the mix. And bam, that person wasn't it. But on their own, with their own intuition, gut instinct, their girlfriends, it's like blind leading the blind, right? So it's like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is it." I'm like, let's just pause a second. So usually what I say is the SAT, right? So it's three things. S is you feel safe and secure. A, you can authentically be yourself. And T, this is someone that you can trust, right? So looking at those three at the very basis, you know, of course, there's things that you stack on top of that. I don't necessarily believe in the list of the 6-figure, no kids, never divorced, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in that stuff. But it's, you know, like there's core basic things, and that is the basics of where you begin. SAT, because I had another client that, you know, she wanted someone to go to galas with and balls, and someone that could represent well and all that. But when we got down to it, she just wanted somebody that would chill with her in her sweatpants without her makeup on, you know, like that wouldn't judge her. She had the sniffles. That's really what she wanted. You know, at the end of the day, she could care less about the balls, but that's what she led with, you know, like, you know, let's see how he stands up in society, you know, and now she's married to a great guy who could do both, right? So come on now, sometimes we focus on the wrong situation.
That was something I was going to ask. Do you find that you have a lot of some successful women that they're looking for one thing, but it's actually something else that they need? If that,
heck yeah, 100% of the time, 100% of the time, I have clients that'll say, you know, Coach Cass, let me tell you, I need someone that doesn't have any kids because I want kids of my own and I don't need any baby mama drama. I need someone that, you know, has a 6-figure salary because, you know, I don't want anyone to mooch off of me. And then, you know, I need someone that, you know, can treat me right and maybe go to church on Sunday, right? So that'll be like the basis of what they're looking for. I'm like, okay, well, let's really talk about this. If you have no children and you're over the age of 40 and he has a child, I see that as a bonus, right? So you don't necessarily have to birth anybody or go through IVF and all that. And I understand the physical want to have a child, but you might have an issue. You've never tried.
Right.
You don't know, right? So you're going through all this and then you may not have anybody, right? So let's just think about, all right, this person has a child. How old is the child? Oh, he's 6. Does the child like you? Yeah. Well, this is somebody that you don't have to birth. Listen, my stepmom is an awesome mom to me. I met her when I was 3, right? And I call her mom. I still have my real mom and my stepmom. They're both my real moms, right? And my mom calls my stepmom my mom. So we have made it in our family that I have 3 parents, my stepmom, my mom, and my dad. So I have a bonus mom and it's awesome, right? So And she didn't have children of her own, and that's okay because I treat her just like she's my mom. And my daughter calls her grandma. And so she still has that feeling of having a grandchild, and she even looks like her, which is just so crazy, right? So, it's like no blood relation, but she looks just like my stepmom. So it's just so beautiful. So the fact that we commit to, well, this is what it has to look like, you are edging yourself out from many blessings that can happen, right? This is the only place where like it can only happen like this. When you have a business, right, y'all, you're like, yo, I'm gonna get a client however they come, right? Clever, right. However, right? So however, especially in a quarantine, we gonna get these clients however they come. But with love, it's like, no, if it doesn't come in this perfect heart-shaped box, right, with the bows and the butterflies, with the doves and the ducks, however, if it doesn't come like this, I don't want it. If it's not packaged right with the gold foil stamp, I don't want it, But if it's a client, boo, you better slide in the DM, send a cool pigeon, So I just need us to look at this just like we do business. However it comes, I accept it, right? If it's for me, it's for me. However it comes, I accept it. If it's for me, it's for me. That's it.
That makes good sense. But I love that. I love that SAT.
Yeah.
I really love that.
I'm like, I need more room for notes now.
I know. Yeah. And that's just really awesome.
Man,
but that's really great because, everybody, they come with their criteria or, what's the movie? Nobody's Fool. She was the lady was like, she was going off the list based on her mom. And her mom was like, that's not real, know. And the perfect person is sitting there, right? Yeah, but they don't fit your criteria, and you live out,
And that's unfortunate because a lot of times we do those based on our previous experiences or past experiences. Like when I met my husband, amazing, handsome, but he was an athlete, and I had a no athlete. So can you imagine? I would have missed my blessing had I just said, oh no, he's an athlete. No, off the list. No, he's amazing. I mean, he led me back to God. He's been a pillar of strength in our family and for our kids. So I'm like excited. I'm thankful. And I just encourage more women out there I understand it's good to have, in your mind what you like, but also be flexible because it doesn't mean that God's going to bring your package exactly the way you deliver it.
Exactly. Listen to me. I have a client that was like, Coach Cass, I don't know. I went on this date with this guy. I'm not totally attracted to him. I said, but did you have a good time? She said, I had the best time I've ever had in my life. I said, wait a second now. Okay. So you had the best time, but you're not sure you're too attracted to him. I said, just go on another date. Just go on another date. She's been dating this guy for almost a year now. They're talking about marriage, and literally she's like, he speaks all of my love languages. Yeah. All of them. So sometimes we base everything on the physical, but I remind you that the physical fades. No matter how sexy the person is, if they open their mouth and they have nothing to say, they get real ugly real quick. So if we just focus on that, that's not going to help you, especially if they're a slob and everything else that gets under your nerves, all that sexiness goes out the window. You're like, you get on my nerves. And everybody's like, oh, well, your husband or wife is so cute. You're like, really? Because you don't even see it anymore because you're so annoyed. So having that true connection with someone, right, is the biggest part in this whole equation. Yeah.
But I like that again. That's powerful. And I just keep thinking about that SAT, making sure they feel safe and secure, that you can authentically be yourself, and you got to be able to trust them.
Man, this has been so good and so inspiring. I'm like,
yeah, now I see why it's called Inspire Many.
That's it.
We don't want to run over the time. So, Coach Cass, tell everybody about your upcoming events. And you told us a little bit about your book, which is great. Are there anything else that you want to tell people that could be potential clients? Tell them also about the relationships for busy women. How can they, register or get in contact with you?
Okay, so very simply, they can go to inspiremany.com and you can book a time for us to have a conversation to see how I can best support you. You know, we do have a monthly membership in which I help support you from self-love to real love, along with other women from around the country that are professional women, majority over 40, who may have been divorced and like, what is dating again? What does this whole look like? You know, so if you're saying to yourself, I don't know if I'm ready to date, you're ready to be in the Real Love Network. This is the perfect place for you to be. If you're a person that's like, I'm dating, but I don't know how to choose the right one, you're ready to be in the Real Love Network. And we support you through being in a relationship because y'all already know it's easy to mess this thing up, right? Self-sabotage is real, right? So then after y'all are married, y'all can check out Eric and Dr. Sakeisha, you know, so it's a continuum. We work hand in hand. You know, there's a nice, beautiful handoff to be able to support you in your journey, right? To be able to be here to support you guys in your journey. So yeah, so whether it's one-on-one or group, those are my main offerings when it comes to my single ladies. If you're a man watching this and you're like, well, I need help too. If you're serious, only if you're serious, so I have a conversation with you because I ain't got time for the foolishness. So and so if you're saying to yourself, Coach Cass, I don't need a man, then we don't need to have a conversation. This is only for women that desire love and it hasn't been working out for you. That's who I support. And otherwise, spread the word about Nara and Ziggy. Like, don't play any games. Buy the book, number one. Buy it for a child. If you don't have any children, buy it for yourself. Buy it for some children you know. What's so cool is the other day, my mom bought one in New York. There's nobody in her house but her. And then my daughter, and my mom read the book to my daughter through the phone. You know, so that was so cool, you know, so you guys could be innovative with it. I have another person that bought 10 for an orphanage in Mexico to help them learn English, but to be able to see different types of characters, right? The diversity on your bookshelf, no matter if you're white or black, it's important to have diversity, right? So I have, you know, like diverse individuals. Let me see, I'm like looking through all my stuff. And then you have, you know, we have black, white, we got Hispanic, we got Asian, you know, so being able to have a diverse bookshelf for children, whether you have them or not, you know, it's important. Spread the message, follow us on Instagram, at Inspire Many on Instagram. We just hit 5,000 followers, so excited.
Oh, wow.
We'll see how long it takes us to get to 10, you know, so as a driven woman, we always have the next goal in mind. So yeah, you know, follow us. I have really cute Insta stories and such. And for those who are on Facebook, I'm Ask Coach Cass on Facebook. So, you know, just let's have a conversation. And if you know someone that wants to interview me on love, relationships, or diversity, I'm your girl. You know, I'm here for you. We have a great conversation. I appreciate y'all having me. And
thank you so much.
This has been a really good conversation. Like,
enjoyed it.
This is great.
So for all my family that's tuning in, make sure that you follow Dr. Sakeisha and Eric and Marriage Can Win, and make sure that you support their movement because it goes totally in line with mine, you know, in terms of uplifting our folks to stay married. Hello. Ooh, struggling to keep the vowsbook.com. Oh,
yes.
Quarantine. Yes. I've been hearing all the stories. So pick up their book. Make sure you read it together as a couple, right? That's one of the things that they say helps with couples is to talk about something other than the kids, work, and the news, is to be able to talk about something more. So go ahead and read their book, have conversation about it, even if it's once a week. We're going to be in this for a while, so you can spread it out.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're definitely excited with having you on the show. This has been so awesome, been a great show, and we're so glad that all of our listeners and viewers, they're getting so much wisdom and knowledge, and now they know where to go. So there's no more complaining. It's up to you guys now to make the decision to, if you're going to invest in a relationship, you need to invest in yourself. And she is the one to reach out to and invest in your relationship. Make sure that you can choose the right one for a lifetime, because you choose the wrong one, you have a lifetime of heartaches, mental challenges, emotional, everything, money that causes that you have to go through the divorce. So you might as well put the money in now and invest in yourself and your relationship for the future. So contact Coach Cass. She laid it out. There's no excuse. It's up to you. But yes, struggling to keep the vow. And this is where Sakeisha and I do get a chance. We talk about not only the defining moment in our life, but the defining moment in our relationship that actually birthed the first book, Marriage Can Win. And, with that book, of course, we tackle the challenges, what we call the Great Divide, communication, finance, and we say intimacy, but it's really sex. And the thing is, we went through all the challenges that we talk about in that three divide. And so we're living it. But in our fourth book now, Struggling to Keep the Vows, this is where we talk about that defining moment in our relationship, and we're transparent. And then we also have invited about 12 other authors to be a part of it. So everybody's talking about their defining moment in their marriage and how they overcame this in their relationships. So that's why today you're really getting the best of both worlds, dating and marriage, and how to get through it. But anyway, so I diverse. But
no, you're good. You're fine.
So everybody, also, like she said, join us every Tuesday. We're going to have Coach Cass on the Love Radio Network Tuesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We have the Love Radio Network. We're going to get her on there as well, so that way you'll be able to call in and ask questions, be interactive, and really, get some of that wisdom from her.
All right. So we want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, I'm trying to respond to all of the comments. I mean, it's been amazing. Thank you guys so much to Sean and to Nicole, to Trell. And I've seen the names coming across the screen, and I'm
Shelly,
trying.
Fan,
Shelly!
Sean.
Oh, Shelly's amazing. She's one of our co-authors. She's amazing. William, Melanie.
Well,
There's so many.
Okay, let me give a shout out to Hey Roger, hi Nicole, hey Marissa, hey Adele, what's up Veronica? I got my people watching too. Hey, let's go.
Represent.
Yes. But it's been an amazing time. Amazing. I mean, give hugs to Andy and Ava for us.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much for sharing your time with us, because we know
the living room is okay.
All right, but thank you again, Coach Cass, and we'd love to have you on the show again, and also on our Love Radio Network.
Yes, definitely. So to all of our viewers,
take care until next
time. Bye guys, thanks for having me. Bye guys.
All right, bye.
We want to thank you for joining us today on our broadcast.
Let's keep the conversation going. You can connect with us via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or subscribe to our YouTube channel under Marriage Can Win.
Also, you can join us 24/7 on our Marriage Can Win podcast at www.themarriagecanwinshow.com, and also connect to us at marriagescanwin.com.
Remember, you can be the change you want to see in your relationship. Until next time, see you soon.